Hello. We're going to explore another machine tonight. This is number 13 out of chapter 11. It's going to be a Turing machine, one of our first ones that we've looked at in homework problems. So let's get to it. I'll share my screen with you real fast. All right. So this is the graph. Pardon me, it's a little bit messy, but it's probably one of the better graph builders I've found online to use. Here's our start state. And from our start state, we read a hashtag, we write a hashtag, and we move right on our tape. Right here, we have both reader one, writer one, stay on our tape, but we move to a new state. And same thing with zero. We will stay on our tape. We'll write the zero, but we'll move on to a new state. These right here are pretty interesting because we do all the same thing at S0, S2, and S3. We see hashtags. We're gonna keep on chugging along through. If we read a symbol here, I read a zero here. We write it as a hashtag, and if we read another zero, we're just gonna move right along and kind of just skip it and move along our tape. We get the same thing with ones here, and another with zeros here, and another with ones here. So we get like the same pattern between these four states here. But the most important states out of these are zero and one out of these, because these allow for these loops or these transitions into state four. And state four is the important one because that's the one that loops all the way back to the beginning of the tape. And then once it gets there, it'll shoot you back to the start state. And the start state's going to read all these hashtags until hopefully you get a delta. And if you get a delta, I'm sorry, and delta in this case on this graph, I'm using dollar signs. Delta in this case is, if you read it from the start state, is going to get you into that accept state. Sorry, right here. So let's explore this a little bit further here. I have written a program. Get to it real fast. All right, here we go. So the same kind of rules apply to the other machines that we've gone through. But here's our states. Here's our list of states. HA is our accept state, just to mimic the problem from the book. And we write our machine as a function. There's a couple little things that are different here. We initialize a list to kind of mimic how the tape works in this Turing machine. So we'll go down to the initialization here. And the same thing, we use dollar signs for delta. And we're going to append $2 in the beginning, and then append this string, and a little buffer towards the end there, just in case we need the extra space there. All right, so this function here accepts a string. We started at the start state, and we're also our pointer is going to start at the first, at the index of the first symbol. And then this while loop here is just going to keep on going. There's a finished flag here. So anytime this machine can make a movement, it's gonna be able to continue. So as long as it's able to make a movement and it doesn't die, it's going to return false, and the loop is going to continue on. If it gets into an accept state, it's going to return true. So to follow this, I've made a list of tests that test strings here. These being true, these being false. So this machine, in particularly, accepts strings that have the same amount of ones and zeros. So we'll run this test real fast. Sorry about that. All right. Okay. So here we are. Back to the top here. And what's nice about this is that we'll print out the tape and the position you're at and the state that you're at, and you can really follow along nicely as you traverse this machine. So our first string is 0, 1, or I'm sorry, 1, 0. Our head's at 1, or at symbol 1, so that's position 0, 1, 2. And our state's going to be state 2. Well, state 1 is the it doesn't it starts there, so it's going to it prints the first movement of it. So the next state you're going to you read that 1, you go to state 5, then you gonna read the 0 and go to state 4, and state 6 is that loop back state. So it's going to go all the way back until you get to state 1. Here we are at state 1, and then we're just going to read hashtags. And as long as you can read hashtags and get to the end, and once you read this this delta here, we get into our step state, and there's the true. And you follow this really, really nicely amongst all the strings here. We'll go down to a false string real fast. So here we are. Here's a false string. Let's get a good one. So we'll get this is just 1, 1 here. All right. So here we are. Our first movement goes into state 2. We're gonna cross up that 1, and we move to state 5. We're gonna loop back and read that 1 again. And since we can't read it, we read a delta and we're in state 2, we're going to go to that loop back state. So we loop back, we loop back, we loop back. We get to state 1. We're gonna read that first hashtag. We're gonna read that 1 and go to state 2, and then we're gonna hashtag that next 1 there. But here's the thing: we're in state 5. State 5 does not head to state 6, so you can't go anywhere. That way you dies, and then as long as you have no more movements, it's going to return false. So, and we can see this with all these different states here, and I particularly like the output of this one because you can really follow how the Turing machine really works. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for tuning in. Take care. Bye.